Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have a Toronto Raptors video. Thank you to everyone who tuned into last night's live stream watching the Bulls-Raptors game. This is going to be a juicy episode because I really think the Toronto Raptors are significantly better than we had all expected. And I want to use an example with Pascal Siakam. I really just don't think people understand the fact that the Raptors' best player is out of the basketball game. Now, I want to look at the 2019-2020 All-NBA second team that Pascal Siakam was a part of. Kawhi Leonard, Nikola Jokic, Damian Lillard, and Chris Paul. So, going player by player, what happens to the Clippers if they're without Kawhi Leonard? Well, honestly, it's not the end of the world because they have a very, 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 very deep team. However, I don't think that they would be able to clinch home field in the Western Conference playing a whole season without Kawhi Leonard. Same thing with Nikola Jokic. What if the Nuggets lost Nikola Jokic for an extended period of time? They're going to suck. What happens if the Trailblazers lose Damian Lillard for 1 to 2 months, or not even several months? They're going to suck. Chris Paul, what happens to the Phoenix Suns if they don't have Chris Paul? They don't make the NBA Finals. So I really think that last night showcased to me that this Toronto Raptors unit is much, much more talented than a lot of us are giving them credit for. You look at their 3 losses. I mean, the first game against Washington was horrible. They shot, what was it, like... I mean, they legitimately shot like 30% that game. It was a horrible basketball game. So I don't even really want to talk about that Washington game. You're not going to shoot 30% in any way, shape, or form and win a basketball game. Dallas Mavericks, what happened? Dallas just ended up beating them. Their offense just couldn't really keep up with it. Only 40% from the field, another off night shooting the ball. What about Chicago? 3-point loss. They beat Boston. They beat the brakes off Boston. So you play 4 playoff teams. I guess I can't count the Bulls as a playoff team. 3 out of the 4 teams you've played in your first 4 games were all in the playoffs last season. So I think that should be noted right away. Right away. That's no easy feat. Just because the Eastern Conference maybe doesn't have as big names as the Western Conference doesn't mean it isn't as talented or isn't talented at all. So Toronto's got 3 more games left on the slate. They need to go at least 2-1. I mean, they have to go at least 2-1. You don't want to put yourself in a big hole that when Pascal does come back, they're screwed and they're just trying not to drown. Like, they need to stay afloat. They need to stay at 500 or a handful of games below 500. If they were to go 0-3 to end this week, you're looking at 1-6. That's horrible. That is absolutely a no-go. Good thing they play the Orlando Magic at home, and they play the Indiana Pacers twice. Now, Indiana, I believe, is -1.5, so they are favored to win this basketball game. But Indiana's a really talented team. But they do have some major injuries right now. T.J. Warren, Karis LeVert, they're a little banged up. And Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner, defensively, offensively, they're good in their own ways. But I think they're a little overhyped when thinking like, oh, are they going to abuse Toronto in the paint? No, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Miles Turner is very good on the defensive end. Sabonis is very good on the offensive end. I like the mesh. Hopefully they don't end up trading it, but this isn't a Pacers video, so we'll stop talking Pacers. So basically the point I'm trying to get at here is if you're 1-3 after I would say the loss to Dallas it wasn't the end of the world. It definitely wasn't the end of the world. Lost it there at the end of the game. Chicago Bulls lose by 3 to the only undefeated team in the Eastern Conference. Washington Wizards made the playoffs last year. The Boston Celtics made the playoffs last year. When you're without your best player, it's not going to be good. Like, I just genuinely can't think of a single team in the NBA where if they lost their best player, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Maybe the Milwaukee Bucks last season, but still, there's no way that they would have been like better without Giannis. I mean, there's just no way. Like, so I don't think it's even fathomable to think about a team losing their best player in any sport and then somehow being better from it. It's just not possible. So I'm watching this Bulls-Raptors game last night, and first off, Toronto lost because of the turnovers. I mean, that's it. That's the only reason they lost last night's game. I don't think Chicago offensively was playing their best. Statistics will show me wrong, 48%, 44.5% for Chicago. But you look at Toronto, they shot 48.2 from the field, and then they shot 40% from downtown. Out-rebounded the Bulls 58-32. They out-assisted the Bulls. But where they really got them was 19 turnovers to 12 turnovers. And keep in mind, Chicago only had 9 turnovers in the first half of last night's game. 3 turnovers in the first half of last night's game. So they had 9 second-half turnovers, which is where you really saw Toronto, really start to take advantage of that. What ended up happening was Toronto just got in a big enough hole in that third quarter. They were going on a little drought, and Zach LaVine was starting to cook. Nikola Vucevic was starting to cook. All these Bulls players are making their shots, and Toronto was just struggling to buy a bucket. I believe the score was it was 20 at one point. I know that, but it was 15-20 for a good portion of the end of the third quarter, and it really just was. If you didn't have that drought, the Raptors win this game. They outscored Chicago 19-28 in the fourth quarter. But you just can't win a basketball game having 19 turnovers. But what was really reassuring to me last night from Toronto was just their starters. I think that their starters really played well as a unit together. Freddie, he started coming up clutch when it mattered. 15.6 rebounds, 17 assists. I already posted my recap video, but Freddie needs to be more aggressive before the fourth quarter. That's all I have to say. Even if he's shooting, and I know he's been aggressive in the first couple of quarters in recent games, but the issue is he was 2 of 8, 1 of 9. He wasn't shooting well, so maybe that affected his confidence. I don't care if he's not shooting the ball well. I need to see Freddie take more threes in the first half. I need to see him drive to the rim, which he was doing, but I need to see him actually attempt layups. I need to see him take some hits, get to the free throw line. Only 2 free throws for him last night, so I felt like he would drive down to the paint, start running in circles, looking for a pass when it's no one's crashing because you haven't shot in the paint tonight. So it's if you're not going to shoot it, we're not going to double team you. So Freddie with 17 assists, that's a huge good sign. Obviously 8 turnovers, but that goes back to my stop running in circles. I'd rather have you take a 3, waste 20 seconds on the shot clock, and take a more open 3 than dribble in circles in the paint, leading to a turnover. That's just, it was ridiculous. He definitely got better at that as the game went on. In the fourth quarter, you started seeing him take those layups. You started seeing him get in the paint and looking to take the shot. So 17 assists, that is exactly what you want to see. That's great. It's hard to even understand Freddie dropped 17 assists. I'm still shocked. Gary Trent Jr., consistent. Gary Trent Jr., especially from downtown. Scotty Barnes needs more looks, needs the ball in his hands more. But OG last night, I was predicting OG to drop 25. He dropped 22. 22, 8 and 5, 4 of 8 from downtown. He was definitely in foul trouble, which really kind of screwed the Raptors at the end of the first half when he got his third foul in the second quarter with a couple minutes left. So that really screwed him, led to the Bulls have a 10-point lead at halftime. Precious Achiuwa, I believe this was his 3rd straight double-double, so good game from Precious. And yeah, the starters, they're clicking. They're just starting to click. I think Scotty's the move to put on the bench once the season once Pascal is back. I think Scotty will just be a little bit better suited coming off that bench for the time being. Pascal, I don't know when he's going to be coming back, but hopefully it's soon, because once he's back, this Raptors team, eyes are going to be on the Raptors once again. It's hard to win basketball games without your best player. I feel like that's something outside of Raptors fans, no one's giving up credit for that. So that's it for today, guys. Imagine Zach LaVine goes down. They're effed. So hit the like button, hit that sub button. We're trying to hit 10,000 subs by the end of the year. I think we're almost at 8.6. So thank you guys so much. Peace. Peace.